Hey guys, happy Halloween. Welcome to another edition of About Last Night. I have a great recipe that I want to share with you guys. It's healthy, it's sweet, and it's a great new idea for you guys for a dessert that's healthy for the holidays. We're going to be making a candied pumpkin. Now this recipe does take about an hour and a half to cook, so you just want to plan accordingly. The first thing you need, of course, is a pumpkin. So I'm going to be using a small one because I'm only making it for the 4 of us for tonight. 2 cups of water. We're going to be using 2 tablespoons of maple syrup, and I use the sugar-free. Also 2 tablespoons of brown sugar, and I'm using the Truvia blend. We're going to be throwing in a couple cinnamon sticks, but you can use ground cinnamon if that's all you have. The original recipe calls for the juice of 1 orange. Unfortunately, I didn't have oranges, so I'm going to be using a half a cup of high-fiber sugar-free orange. That's all the ingredients, and the only thing you need to make it is a stock pot that has a lid. So you're going to start off carving the pumpkin just like a Halloween jack-o'-lantern. So I just cut the top off, and now I'm going to scoop the insides, the guts out, and the seeds, and I'm going to save the seeds so I can roast them later. Okay, so now I've taken the pumpkin and hollowed it out completely. I've taken out all the seeds and flesh, and there's nothing inside at all. And now we're just going to cut it into chunks. What I love about pumpkins, besides the fact that they really are good for you and they're really high in fiber, is there's not a lot of waste. This is all the seeds that I got from inside that little pumpkin. I'm going to dry these out and I'm going to roast them later. And then I also have this little bit of pumpkin flesh that was inside. It's not a lot, but it's perfect to throw into your smoothie or shake. Now we all know carving a pumpkin isn't exactly the easiest chore, so it does take a little bit of time. For the sake of our dessert tonight, we're only serving 4 people, so I'm cutting this size chunk and I'm just scraping it out with a spoon and just making it smooth. We're going to be boiling it, and we're going to be boiling it with the rind on. So basically this is the dessert, and it's going to be served like that. So now while I'm about halfway through cutting the pumpkin, I'm going to get everything started to simmer on the stove. So we've got the stock pot, 2 cups of water, 2 tablespoons brown sugar, 2 tablespoons maple syrup, and a few cinnamon sticks. I'm using 3. And again, the original recipe calls for the juice of 1 orange, and unfortunately I didn't have one. So I'm using a half a cup of water and a couple drops of artificial orange flavoring. Now you're going to simmer the candied mixture on the stove on medium while you cut up the rest of the pumpkin. Once the sugars are dissolved, you put the pumpkin in. And again, I'm just removing the strands with a spoon. I ended up getting 5 pieces out of the pumpkin. Since I'm a person that really doesn't like to waste anything, I'm cutting up the bottom into this size pieces as well. Now, if you were having a party, or if this was just one of many desserts, you can cut it into this size pieces and get a ton of them out of even a small pumpkin. So pretty much perfect timing. My candy water is almost simmering, and I just finished carving the pumpkin. Look at all the pieces I got. All this from that little pumpkin. So once the water's simmering, you're going to put the pumpkin in, reduce it to low, and let it simmer covered for half an hour. Now, since the pumpkin has to simmer for 30 minutes on low, I preheated the oven to 300 so I can dry out the pumpkin seeds at the same time. Okay, so it's been a half an hour. So now what we're going to do is we're going to take the lid off the stock pot and continue simmering it for another hour, an hour and a half, because we want the candied liquid to caramelize. So this is what it looks like so far. It's still in about an inch or so of liquid. Perfect timing to take the pumpkin seeds out of the oven. So now that my pumpkin is simmering uncovered on low, I'm going to get my pumpkin seeds together. So I dried them in a 300 oven for 30 minutes with nothing on them. I oiled a pan and just dried them out. And tonight I'm going to be making garlic parmesan. Most of the times I like to make sweet pumpkin seeds, but we're already having this pumpkin dessert and it's Halloween. I'm sure there's going to be candy involved somewhere. So I'm going to make it savory. I'm going to make garlic parmesan. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add 2 tablespoons of olive oil. I like a lot, so I'm going to add a couple tablespoons of garlic powder, salt and pepper, or for me, Crazy Jane's. And since No Dairy November starts tomorrow, I better get it in now. A half a cup of grated Parmesan. And since it looks like I have a little bit more seasoning than I have pumpkin seeds, since it was a small pumpkin, I'm going to add some sliced almonds in as well. Then I'm just going to spread it on the pan and put it back in the oven for another 15-20 minutes. There you go. So it's going to go back in the oven. Okay guys, it's Halloween night. I just took the pumpkin out of the stock pot. The liquid's completely evaporated. I set it in a Pyrex and I sprinkled it with the Truvia brown sugar and a little bit of the sugar-free maple syrup. And all I'm going to do is just put it in the oven under broil for just a minute to get it warm again and serve it with whipped cream. Okay guys, I just took it out of the broiler. I'm just having a little piece and I'm just going to put some whipped cream, and in honor of No Dairy November, I found non-dairy coconut milk Ready Whip, so I will be using this for the next 3 weeks. I guess I should have read the instructions. You're supposed to shake it like 1,000,000 times. And it's done.